Hello everyone, we are continuing with the E module and the second chapter in this, which is E2, which is related to quadratic equations and inequations. So E2 and E3 will be related to quadratic equations. So let's start with this. In this first half, we are going to see the basics of quadratic equations, how we are forming the quadratic equations, how do you factorize the quadratic equations, and then eventually move on to the inequation part. The first part, as usual, as I said in the previous class as well, whenever you study any particular equation, two things are very critical. One is the standard form and second is the graph of the equation. So the standard form of quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0 as long as a is not equal to 0. And as you can see, your degree of the equation is 2. The second part, the graph of the quadratic equation is going to be something like this, which is called as a parabola shaped graph, U-shaped curved parabola. Obviously, there can be other parabola as well, which is inverted U. And this graph comes, the inverted U graph comes whenever the value of A is negative. Remember all these things. These are technical things, but very, very important. You get normal parabola when A is positive, the coefficient of x square, the value of A is positive. You get a normal parabola U-shaped, and you get an inverted parabola when you have value of A as negative, the coefficient of x square. Remember that. Moving on, the next part is how do we form the quadratic equation. So we have left side mein standard form and right side mein mathematical form. We'll take help of both and compare both so that you understand in a better way. Suppose you have a quadratic equation which is this. We are going to do reverse now from down to up. 2x square plus 24x plus 70. This is the equation that we have. And if suppose we want to factorize this, what we are going to do is take 2 common from the entire part. So when you take 2 common, what you have inside is x square plus 12x plus 35. And this particular form is simple as this one. You need to compare this step with this particular step. Why you need to do that is because it is of this particular type. As you can see, there is something out of the bracket which is a, which is 2, as you clearly understand. Then as you can see, this x coefficient is supposed to be addition of two numbers, m plus n. X ka coefficient is supposed to be addition of two numbers. 12 has to be addition of two numbers, and the constant term has to be the product of same two numbers. The constant term has to be the product of same two numbers. So what are we looking actually is the two numbers which will have the sum as 12, which is m plus n, which is coefficient of x, and the same two numbers need to have the product of 35, which is the constant term, which is apparently c also, as you can see here on the left side, because this is the standard form of the quadratic equation. C is the constant term, remember that. Okay, so 12 is the sum and 35 is the product of the same two numbers. The numbers are very easy, which is 7 and 5. So m and n are going to be 7 and 5. So one step up, this is what you get. So the same equation 2x square plus 24x plus 70 can be further factorized or can be further written in a better way as 2 in bracket x plus 5 into x plus 7, a into x plus m into x plus n, and this is how you factorize the quadratic equation. I'm very sure looking at this you would have remembered your school days. It is exactly something we used to do, and yes, that is why this is easy to handle. Moving on, the next part is any quadratic equation can be further expressed in the factorized form, obviously, which can be a into x minus alpha into x minus beta. Factorized form we call this, where alpha and beta are defined as the roots of the quadratic equation. Alpha and beta are the roots of the quadratic equation. So basically there are three forms of quadratic equation. One is the standard form, ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a is not equal to 0. Second is this form, which is called as factorized form as well, a into x minus alpha into x minus beta. Third form we'll be seeing in E3. So remember those all three forms, because based on which kind of data you have, accordingly you need to use that particular form of the equation to simplify the question. Okay, now the second part is very important, which is how do we find out the roots of the quadratic equation. So there are two ways in which you can find the roots of the quadratic equation. The first is obviously the factorized form, or the factorization method we call it. And what do we do here is very simple. All you have to do is somehow reduce your equation, factorize your equation, and somehow get it in the form of a into x minus alpha into x minus beta, which is called as the factorized form. So you need to get your equation, quadratic equation, in this form after reducing, taking common and all of that, which we did earlier as well. And using all of this, what we are going to do is equate it with 0, equate this with 0, and then once you equate with 0, obviously you get x minus alpha is 0, and you solve that, you get x is equal to alpha, and x minus beta is equal to 0, where you get x is equal to beta. And we have already defined the terms where alpha and beta are the roots of the quadratic equation. So you need to factorize and equate with 0, and you get your answers for alpha and beta. That's the first method. The second method, obviously, suppose sometimes what happens is particular equations are you are not able to factorize somehow. Then what we do is there's a generic standard method which you can use, which is called as the formula based method. So formula based method, what you need to do is obviously compare your equation with the standard form ax square plus bx plus c, find out the values of a, b, c, because you are going to require them. And the formula to find out the value of alpha and beta is a big formula. Obviously you will remember that again from the school days, which is minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a, minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. Substitute the values of a, b, c, solve this, and you get two equations, alpha and beta. The plus minus is the differentiating factor, which will give you the two roots. Once you will have to do plus, once you will have to do minus, and you get two different values of alpha and beta. Obviously this is a slightly long cut approach, but you want to blindly use it, you can use it. But what we would advise is obviously try and factorize first, because if that happens, that's the easy way. If it doesn't at all, then only go for the formula based approach. So these are the two ways in which you can find out the values of alpha and beta. Remember folks, this is the very critical part, and this is something which is going to be your bread and butter as far as algebra and quadratic equations is concerned. Hundreds and thousands of times you are going to use this, all methods and steps. So make sure you are very good at it by practicing more and more such simple questions. The next half of this topic was quadratic inequation. We saw linear inequations in the earlier topic. Here we are dealing with quadratic inequations. Slight bit of add-ons obviously as far as quadratic equations parts goes. So suppose we have an equation which is y is equal to a into x minus alpha into x minus beta is greater than 0. It's a quadratic equation, obviously factorized form, and a is greater than 0. That's the assumption. A is positive. Obviously the parabola will be a standard U-shaped parabola, something like this. Alpha and beta are the roots of the equation. Once you do all of this, basically the point is, whatever is your quadratic equation, you need to get it in this form, factorized form. You need to look at the sign of inequation as well, okay? And then alpha and beta are your roots, which will get after factorization. Or formula method for that matter. Once you have all of this, once you have plotted the graph and all, is just not up to the scale or anything, that's all fine. You need to look at two things very critically. The first part is that this y is greater than 0. Y is greater than 0. So obviously, suppose this is your standard y-axis, the vertical part, and the horizontal is your x-axis. So they are saying y is greater than 0. Greater than 0 is obviously positive, common sense. When on which side of the graph y is positive or y is greater than 0, obviously the answer to that is the upper side of the graph. So in the upper side of the graph, y is greater than 0, and hence because of that, what are the values that we are going to highlight is which are beyond the region, which is alpha and beta. So alpha and beta ke bahar wale sare values are the values that we are going to consider. So which values will satisfy this inequation? Which are less than alpha and which are greater than beta. So x has to be less than alpha or x has to be greater than beta. These are the values which will satisfy this inequation. So first category. Obviously the second category only changes, instead of greater than 0, the equation is less than 0. The basic process remains the same. Figure out alpha beta by factorization by formula method, whichever is convenient to you. Plot it on the graph, and then you look at the sign, which is y is greater than, sorry, y is less than 0. Less than 0 is negative. On which side of the graph y is negative? So it is the lower side of the graph where y is negative. Y is negative, obviously, because of which you will mark the values which are between alpha and beta, which are being highlighted right now in the gray colored, as you can see. So the values of alpha and beta, the values of x rather, which will satisfy this inequations are beyond, are in between alpha and beta. So two things actually that you need to remember, and this is going to be constant because inequations will come again and again, and this remains the basic theme throughout, that whenever the sign is greater than 0, inequation sign is greater than 0, you need to always do beyond the region or beyond the limit, and whenever the sign is less than 0, you are going to do within the range. Greater than 0 beyond the range, less than 0 within the range. So you need to first get your range very clear. So for example, here in all these cases, your range is actually alpha and beta. This is your range. So whenever the sign is greater, what are we doing? You can see we are going outside the range on both sides. On left side, hence we are marking less than alpha. On the right side, we are marking more than beta. Obviously, common sense. Less than alpha, more than beta. But whenever the sign is less than 0, again the boundary is fixed, which is alpha and beta, which is the factorization values, and whenever less than, you need to stay within the range. That's a simple idea that you can remember, which will help you throughout your inequation portions, and that is something which remains constant, and this simplifies a lot of things. Even if you are confused, you know which value is supposed to be considered. So that's how you need to do quadratic inequation. Folks, that's it for today. Go through this one more time. If you have any questions, do let us know. Thank you very much.